Hi folks, this is the Advanced Math Vectors Part A homework quiz recap. If you haven't gotten around to taking the quiz yet, the recap is going to go over a question that's sort of similar, kind of like the homework, and might give you enough practice that you can feel confident going into the quiz. If you've already taken a quiz and it didn't go well and you want to do it again, this is a good place to come and review the information and practice doing a similar question. So the question that I'm looking at here is, given the plane equation x plus 4y plus 2z equals 8, we want to find the x, y, and z intercepts and graph the plane in this three-dimensional grid. So an equation like this, x plus 4y plus 2z equals 8, is similar to what you would see in a linear equation. You could have, for example, x plus 4y equals 8. And to graph that, one of the ways to do it is to figure out where the graph crosses the x and y axes. And it's pretty straightforward. If you're finding where the graph, in this case the plane, crosses this x-axis, when the graph or when the plane is crossing the x-axis, at the moment it's doing that, the z and the y coordinates on the x-axis are 0. And that means if you're solving for the x-intercept, you set the y term and the z term to 0, and you can write a much simpler equation, which in this case is just x equals 8. And that means if I'm going to write this coordinate as a triplet of x, y, and z numbers, it would be at 8, that's the x coordinate, 0, comma 0. And on our graph, I would plot that, I would count out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units on the x-axis, and I'd draw a point. All right, so for the y-axis, where the plane crosses the y-axis, the x and the z are going to be 0. So that means I can write a simpler equation, which is just 4y equals 8. I have to do a little more work to solve this. Divide both sides by 4, and I get y equals 2. The coordinates for this point are 0, 2, 0. And I can count 2 units over on the y-axis and plot a point on the y-axis. For the z-axis, when the plane crosses the z-axis, the x and the y coordinates are 0, and the equation is simply 2z equals 8, which I can solve dividing by 2. Z equals 4, or the coordinates 0, 0, 4. And plotting that point on the graph, it's right about there. So those represent the 4 places, 3 places where the plane crosses the x, y, and z axes. And the convention for graphing that plane then is to draw line segments connecting those 3 points. So representing just a little triangular section of a plane and shading inside of that to give you an impression of where the plane is with respect to the origin and how it's tipped this way or that. So there we have it. We have the 3 intercepts, x, y, and z, and we've graphed the plane itself on our 3-dimensional grid.